At about this time, Ivan Methvin, Henry's father, contacted the local sheriff, Henderson Jordan, through an intermediary, and he proposed a deal. Henry would set up Bonnie and Clyde to be captured or killed, didn't matter, if Jordan could arrange a pardon for his son in Texas for 2 murders that Henry had committed there. Jordan contacted Frank Hamer immediately because Hamer could cut a deal like that through the Texas governor's office. Finally, arrangements were made and the posse was structured so that Jordan and his deputy, Prentice Oakley, would be in charge because of Louisiana jurisdiction. Hinton and Alcorn were included because they offered additional firepower and because they were the only members of the group who could identify Bonnie and Clyde on sight. Hamer and Galt rounded out the posse with their expertise in firearms, and they brought along the governor's pardon for Methvin. When you think about it, this was the strongest of all possible groupings that could have been put together short of a military squad. It was also, without a doubt, the deadliest force Bonnie and Clyde would ever face.
Early in the morning of May 23, 1934, with the posse now concealed in the brush next to the road, the trap was set. Ivan Methvin parked his pole truck on a flat spot in the road just outside Gibsland. Ironically, it was the same pole truck that Clyde had purchased for the Methvin family. Ivan faked having a flat tire, knowing full well that Clyde would stop when he came by. Children on their way to school that morning remember seeing him there.
On the morning that they were killed, it was probably between 7:30 and 8 o'clock because school was taken in at 8 o'clock, and we were on the school bus going down that long hill, and the bus driver, Dan Cole, stopped and asked him if he could help him, maybe to take the tire in or to take him in. And he said no, he was just about to put it back on. And little did we know that that was the trap.
Well, the day they were shot, I was behind the car. And we come on out, so when they hit that, that's 154 highway. When they hit the highway, well, they were gravel, and they went pretty good up there. When they got up on top of the hill, started over the hill, well, I was intending to pass them. But I needed to get to the top of the hill when they went to shooting. It's just 2 shots was made.
I was plowing in the field right across in front of the house. And around 9 or 10 o'clock, you usually get thirsty. You come home, come to the house with a drink of water. But just before I came to the house, I heard this shot. And it was an immediate shot, too. Boom, boom.
As it got just about even, Prentice Oakley, the chief deputy, was raised up and started shooting first. And then the others immediately jumped. He jumped to signal a little bit. He really didn't mean to, but the pressure and nervousness were just overbearing. And I asked Prentice why he did it. He said, really, he didn't know. He said it was so intense that all of a sudden he realized he was standing up there shooting. He was shooting the rifle.
Lift off!
Prentice Oakley was chief deputy, and he was a real close friend of my father's. And he told my father afterwards, sometime afterwards, that the first shot he fired killed Clyde Barrett because it hit him right in the temple.
Mr. Methvin came to town, drove into the service station. Well, I was telling you that the policeman came and told me, and Mr. Methvin drove up, and the town marshal and the operator of the station, Leslie Towns, he told them what had happened. They just had to shoot out. So when the town marshal came to tell me about it, he was fairly excited about it, but he didn't want sure to believe it, not, you know, what it was. But here was this old fella driving up in this old flatbed sharecropper truck, dressed like a sharecropper, and didn't look like anybody connected with Bonnie and Clyde then, but it wasn't but a little while till it was all known.
Mr. Prentice Oakland, the policeman then from Arcady, high sheriff. Prentice Oakland and Mr. I don't know, I can't remember, Henderson Jordan. They came around that whoop, so fast. She said, well, I've been down. What happened? Like that. And, well, the news started spreading that some desperados had been killed. Well, me, what's that?
We come on back, and they finally, I was trying to think what time they come picked up the car. Had a little old T-model wrecker, but they come out and pick it up, and it was shot, all that car was shot up. Them people were shot up. Lots of blood in there and everything.
But we stood on the porch, and, well, they was towing this car in. It was a gray-looking car, and bullet holes. It was slugs hole. And we got on our tiptoes. Well, they was towing it. We couldn't see any bodies. But this blanket, what we called then, I don't know what to call them, they called Indian blanket, was covered over them.
We went outside and noticed a lot of cars, bumper to bumper, and that was unusual in those days. So we asked what was happening, and they said Bonnie and Clyde had been killed. And so we got out there. When we went back in, we talked to our teacher into letting us get under the window and watch for them. And when we said, here they come, the whole school came out and blocked the street. They had no choice but to stop and let us see it. I ran and looked at Bonnie in her side of the car, stuck my head in the car and looked. She had fallen forward. I could see her red hair and this rusty red dress she had on, and see her back, and she looked like, through her shoulders, she couldn't have been over a foot wide. She was tiny. And there was a magazine on the floor there. Her hair was kind of lying on there. And then I ran around to the other side and stuck my head in the car there and looked at Clyde, and someone jerked the blanket or whatever they had over his face. Well, I just remember his mouth was open, and if I remember right, his eyes were too. But you could tell that he was very dead. It was just gruesome.
The death car, with its gruesome cargo, was towed to the coroner's office in nearby Arcadia. A crowd of curiosity seekers immediately gathered, all hoping to get a glimpse of the bullet-riddled bodies or to snatch a souvenir off the dead pair. After removing the bodies from the car, the coroner took them inside so that the necessary work could begin.